Guys, welcome back. Sorry about the video from yesterday. I know that it was distracting having the bearded dragon and all that in there, so I'll make sure that I won't distract you guys too much anymore going forward. So I'm going to read another chapter with you guys today, just kind of give you an opportunity to listen to it read. Thursday I'm going to make you guys read chapter 8. That way we can kind of assess, and there will be a quizzes tomorrow, Thursday, I should say. Today is Tuesday, but Thursday over chapters 5 through 8. So very important for you to make sure that you've read this, you're ready to go, so that we can make sure that you guys are keeping up with the story. All right, so I'm going to go ahead for us today, and we're going to read chapter number 7. Yesterday we read, "Is the weather good for fishing?" And you guys should have answered the questions that were related to that. I'm going to go ahead and read this for us today, and then we're going to talk about some of those things that were there as well, and just really be able to act like we're in the classroom and I'm reading a little bit to you. I will also be providing you guys a little bit of support on the on another version of learning about the Holocaust, or just another thing, to kind of show you how I would go through that later on today, so be on the lookout for that video as well. All right, chapter 7, the house by the sea. So at this point, they are at Henrik's house, right near right near Sweden. So literally, they can see Sweden on the corner there. Ellen is there with Anne-Marie and her mother. All right. "Oh, Anne-Marie," Ellen said with awe in her voice, "it is beautiful." Anne-Marie looked around and nodded her head in agreement. The house and the meadows that surrounded it were so much a part of her childhood, a part of her life that she didn't often look at them with fresh eyes. But now she did, seeing Ellen's pleasure, and it was true, they were beautiful. The little red roof farmhouse was very old, its chimney crooked and even the small shuttered windows tilted at angles. A bird's nest, wispy with straw, was half hidden in the corner where the roof met the wall above a bedroom window. Nearby, a gnarled tree was still speckled with a few apples now long past ripe. Mama and Kirsty had gone inside, but Anne-Marie and Ellen ran across the high grass meadow, through the late wildflowers. From nowhere, a gray kitten appeared and ran beside them, pouncing here and there upon imagined mice, pausing to lick its paws, and then darting off again. It pretended to ignore the girls, but looked back often to be certain that they were still there, apparently pleased to have playmates. The meadow ended at the sea, and the gray water licked there at damp brown grass flattened by the wind and bordered by smooth, heavy stones. "I have never been this close to the sea," Ellen said. "Of course you have. You've been to the harbor in Copenhagen 1,000,000 times. Ellen laughed. "I mean the real sea, the way it is. Here, open like this, a whole world of water." Anne-Marie shook her head in amazement. To live in Denmark, a country surrounded by water, and never to have stood at its edge? "Your parents are really city people, aren't they?" Ellen nodded. "My mother is afraid of the ocean," she said, laughing. "She says it is too big for her, and it's cold." The girls sat on a rock and took off their shoes and socks. They tiptoed across the damp stones and let the water touch their feet. It was cold. They giggled and stepped back. So this kind of reminds me, I'm sure that several of you have probably been to Lake Michigan. It's really close to Indiana, between Indiana and Illinois. If you ever go in like the springtime or something, try to put your feet in the water. Pretty cold. Probably not the way that I would want to, or any of the water that I'd want to go into. So a little bit cold in Lake Michigan. Sorry, I'm having comments on that. I will answer those after I read this article. I'm having comments on the check-in for you guys, which, by the way, Mr. Powers, Miss King, and myself will be out again tomorrow. If you guys need anything, just let us know. We're bringing around food and just different things. Sorry, getting back to this now. Talking about the cold water. Anne-Marie leaned back and picked up a brown leaf that floated back and forth with the movement of the water. "Look," she said, "this leaf may have come from a tree in Sweden. It could have blown from a tree into the sea and floated all the way across. See over there?" she said, pointing. "See the land way across there? That's Sweden." Ellen cupped one hand over her eyes and looked across the water at the misty shoreline. That was another country. "It's not so very far," she said. "Maybe," Anne-Marie suggested. "Standing over there are standing over there are two girls just our age, looking across and saying, "That's Denmark." They squinted into the hazy distance as if they might see Swedish children standing there and looking back, but it was too far. They saw only the hazy strip of land and two small boats bobbing up and down in the gray ruffles of separating water. "I wonder if one of those is your Uncle Henrique's boat," Ellen asked. "Maybe. Kitty, Luna, come on. Sorry. Come here. Don't knock over the iPad. You're going to knock over the iPad. Sorry. Being distracted. That's what happens when you work from home. Come on. Fine, brat. Alright. "I wonder if one of those is your Uncle Henrique's boat," Ellen asked. "Maybe. I can't tell. They're too far away. Uncle Henrique's boat is named Ingeborg," she told Ellen. "For Mama." So if you remember, her mother's name, we found out in 2 previous chapters ago, was Inga. Okay? Ellen looked around. "Does he keep it right here? Does he tie it up so that it won't float away?" Ellen looked around. Anne-Marie laughed. "Oh no, in town, at the harbor. There's a big dock and all the fishing boats go from there. That's where they unload their fish. You should smell it. At night they are all there, anchored in the harbor." Think about that. Okay, every one of those guys are fishing boats. We know from a previous chapter kind of how they handle their fish on their boats. I wonder how it would smell there. Okay? "Anne-Marie, Ellen!" Mama's voice came across the meadow. The girls looked around and saw her waving to them. They turned, picked up their shoes, and began walking toward the house. The kitten, who had settled comfortably on the stony shore, rose immediately and followed them. "I took Ellen down to show her the sea," Anne-Marie explained when they reached the place where Mama waited. "She'd never been that close before. We started to wade, but it was too cold. I wish we had come in summer so we could swim." "It's cold even then," Mama said. "You didn't see anyone, did you? You didn't talk to anyone?" Anne-Marie shook her head. "Just the kitten." Ellen had picked the kitten up, and it lay purring in her arms as she stroked its small head and talked to it softly. She's trying to do that with Luna, but she's being a little brat over there. "I meant to warn you, you must stay away from people while we are here." "But there's no one around," Anne-Marie reminded her. "Even so, if you see anyone at all, even someone you know, one of Henrique's friends, it is better if you come in the house. It is too difficult, maybe even dangerous, to explain who Ellen is." Ellen looked up and bit her lip. "There aren't soldiers here too?" she asked. Mama sighed. "I'm afraid there are soldiers everywhere, and especially now. This is a bad time. Come in now and help me fix supper. Henrique will be home soon. Watch the step there, it's loose. Do you know what I have done? I have found enough apples for applesauce. Even though there is no sugar, the apples are sweet. Henrique will bring home some fish, and there is wood for the fire. So tonight we will be warm and well fed." "Hey, Jaden, I just got your study jams. Thank you." "It is not a bad time, then?" Anne-Marie told her. "Not if there is applesauce." Thank you, Jaden, for finishing up your Newton's second law. By the way, guys, just a reminder, make sure that Canvas is just used for the actual submission or discussion of e-learning and not for any of those other things, all right? Moving on, sorry. Ellen kissed the kitten's head and let it leap from her arms to the ground. It darted away and disappeared in the tall grass. They followed Mama into the house. That night, the girls dressed for bed in the small upstairs bedroom they were sharing. The same bedroom that had been Mama's when she was a little girl. Across the hall, Kirsty was already asleep in the wide bed that had once belonged to Anne-Marie's grandparents. Ellen touched her neck after she had put on Anne-Marie's nightgown, which Mama had packed. Sorry. "Where is my necklace?" she asked. "What did you do with it?" I hid it in a safe place, Anne-Marie told her. A very secret place where no one will ever find it. And I will keep it there for you until it is safe for you to wear it again. Ellen nodded. Papa gave it to me when I was very small, she explained. Meow. She sat down on the edge of the old bed and ran her fingers along the handmade quilt that covered it. The flowers and birds, faded now, had been stitched onto the quilt by Anne-Marie's great-grandmother many years before. Sorry, guys, I had to get a little bit more comfortable. Anne-Marie didn't have an answer for her. She patted Ellen's head, and they sat together silently. Through the window, they could see a thin, round slice of moon appear through the clouds against the pale sky. The Scandinavian night was not very dark yet, though soon, when winter came, the night would be not only dark, but very long. Night skies beginning in the late afternoon and lasting through morning. From downstairs, they could hear Mama's voice and Uncle Henrique's talking, catching up on news. Mama missed her brother when she hadn't seen him for a while. Anne-Marie knew. They were very close. Mama always teased him gently for not marrying. She asked him, laughing, when they were together, whether he had found a good wife yet, one who would keep his house tidier. Henrique teased back and told Mama that she should come to Gilleleje to live again so that he wouldn't have to do all the chores by himself. For a moment, to Anne-Marie, listening, it seemed like all the earlier times, the happy visits to the farm, in the past with summer daylight extending beyond bedtime, with the children tucked away in the bedrooms and the grown-ups downstairs talking. But there was a difference. In the earlier times, she had always overheard laughter. Tonight, there was no laughter at all. Okay? I'd really like to read a little bit more, but I think I'm going to cut that off there because I want you guys to be able to read chapter 8 tomorrow as we kind of finish this up over the next couple days. Yes, baby. See, just like Ellen, got a kitten right here with me, except she's not a kitten. She's pretty giant. Yeah, you see yourself there. All right. So anyway, we already know what's going to happen. We know that Ellen and her family are going to be reunited and all this. I want you guys to kind of consider or to think about this really quickly. Because it's inevitable, we know that they're going to go over to Sweden, but the book doesn't end when they are in Sweden. What prediction do you have that is going to happen within the rest of the book? Do you think that everything is going to be all good and peachy and all that by the time they actually get to Sweden? Or do you think that there's going to be problems that are created there? Do you think that there's going to be any issues for Anne-Marie and her family as well? So, what I want you to do, I'm going to actually just check to see if you guys actually watched this video or didn't. So I'm not going to post a response. I'm going to put in the response, check the video, okay? So, what prediction, this is the response that I want you to write in your next thing. So if I were you, I'd pay attention, maybe even write this down on a piece of paper if you have it. What prediction do you have for Ellen's family and for the Johansons, for Anne-Marie's family? What do you think is going to happen to them after the Rosens end up making it to Sweden? What do you think is going to happen to Anne-Marie's family? What do you think is going to happen to Ellen's family, the Rosens? Okay? So, again, write this down. Your response, and you're going to have a place to write this on canvas. What do you think is going to happen to Ellen's family? And what do you think is going to happen to Anne-Marie's family after Ellen's family makes it to Sweden? So, what's going to happen to both families when the Rosens make it to Sweden? All right? Anyway, guys, I'm going to get off here. Luna's going to say bye to you guys as well. I really miss you guys. I really do. I wish we were in school together. I wish we were ready to be learning this week. But unfortunately, until we decide what's happening with this virus and everything that's going around, doing that. Talking about that really quickly, guys, I do want to let you know kind of what I was saying earlier. It's the same thing I still believe is the same thing that's true. The whole reason that they're wanting people to stop going to stores and stop going to eat and all those things, something called flattening the curve. Italy right now is dealing with a lot of people that are sick and not a lot of medical treatment that's available because everybody's in the hospital. They're trying to keep as many people out of the hospital as they can at once, so that when people do get sick, they will get the treatment that they need. So that's why they're trying to slow this down. I'm hoping after we get back from, or once spring break is done, we have that week that we're going to have e-learning again. I'm hoping that we can get back into school after that, because I really feel like you guys will benefit a lot from me being there in front of you, teaching you and all that. But if worse comes to worse, I'm going to decide to do everything online. This week is a little bit lighter of a week. It was going to be a lighter week anyway because we have spring break next week. But I'll probably team up with Mr. Powers or something, and we'll team up on some cool lessons that we can actually teach him or on video to you guys. That way it's not just you doing worksheets or answering questions. I feel like you guys get a lot more out of it when it's not just those things. So anyway, I love you guys. Miss you. We'll see you soon.